right now it's still a great buying opportunity. Amazon, I think, is a generational
Generational?
opportunity.
You
I
would
would
call it
call that.
generational?
Yeah. And I would actually say Microsoft is as well. I think those two right now are generational opportunities.
I'm gonna go look as maybe I'm missing something, but I'm gonna check the ticket price on Microsoft while you talk. Go right ahead.
Well, Amazon is down 7% year to date. They
Okay.
just reported record revenues. They just surpassed Walmart as the world's highest revenue public company. They reported $716.9 billion in 2025 revenue, a record for them. They beat out revenue of Walmart. Walmart's revenue was $713.2 billion. Walmart held this top position in the Fortune 500 for 13 years, operating 10,500 physical locations globally, employing over 2 million people. When Walmart's founder Sam Walton passed away in 1992, Amazon didn't even exist. So, exponential growth, obviously, there for Amazon. It's continuing the record revenue last year, and yet it's down 7% year to date. Microsoft, meanwhile, also posting staggering software and cloud infrastructure growth. They achieved $281.7 billion for the fiscal year last year. The heart of Microsoft, and this is what people are worried about. The heart of Microsoft is Microsoft 365, their software suite, right?
Yep.
And everybody's predicting the death of software, and a lot of software companies are going to go under because of artificial intelligence, which we talked about last year. However,
I still don't get
Microsoft
that. I still don't get that
365.
correlation. You need software.
Well, you talked about this like last week and the week before, where the traditional pricing model, the head count, for these companies is going to go down because artificial intelligence can do the job that three other people were doing in the past, and so the subscription model head count is going to drop. So people are thinking
All
that's going
right.
to result in the drop of revenue. Microsoft 365 last year, though, posted a 16% increase in revenue.
It does. So here's what I will say. If you're forecasting could be the slow death of that, when you first notice something like this happening and you believe that with all your heart, it does tend to go up in the first 2 years of you seeing something like this before it drops off and fades away. It's the same thing with BlackBerry. When we first saw that Apple iPhone came out and they said
Mm,
that's going to be the end of BlackBerry, BlackBerry sales went up for the next couple of years, and then it declined and disappeared.
I think they're probably going to have to restructure how they're doing the subscription model, but I also think that they're in the works of doing that. What started this whole thing last year, Malias research analyst Ben Reitz, if I'm pronouncing his last name correctly, he said that we could be in the midst of a generational shift where money flows out of expensive application software companies and back into those who run the infrastructure that writes the software. That was something that spooked people, and then it started to come to fruition, still coming to fruition right now, and people started selling out of software kings like Microsoft. However, Microsoft's cloud business, mainly the Azure unit, this rents out servers for the internet. That's part of the infrastructure, and it's booming. Revenue grew 40% last quarter, boosted by seemingly insatiable demand for AI computing. So they're in on this infrastructure thing, right?
Yeah.
They also have multiple AI initiatives across their business software, including the flagship product 365. There's a $30 a month AI assistant for the Office apps named the Copilot. I think we all know who this is, the Copilot is, what the Copilot is, Microsoft 365 Copilot. After only 2 years, they've got 15 million paying customers for Copilot.
Huh. That's quite a lot of money.
Right. Yes. So they're doubling down now on the subscription model. And also, I mean, if you take Amazon and Microsoft and use that article that I have on the Chinchilla Picking website, they both pass. Like a rigid value investing framework. Both companies exhibit extremely great balance sheet fortresses, liquidity buffers, historical earning trajectories, high return equity profiles, and they're absolute cash cows. To me, these two companies are defensive plays. I don't understand why the market's not treating them like defensive plays. I understand the capex is very high. So Amazon, right, dropping a $200 billion capital expenditure bomb. Microsoft also is $83 billion of capital expenditures for artificial intelligence. If you use the chinchilla picking podcast website article that I wrote on how to grade a stock, they're penalized for this. And this kind of just shows how you have to have logical, skeptical, but also like free thinking abilities when it comes to these things, because you have to think past the headline numbers. There, one thing that you're going to hear a lot, I think, in coming earnings reports is something called compute efficiency. So what we want to look at is, does the capital expenditures that they've announced, are those capital expenditures going to be efficient? Are they going to generate more money in the long run? Right?
Yes.
Yes, I agree.
All of the Fat Mag 7.
So think of compute efficiency like as a tech dividend. So if you spend $1 on a computer today, but it's twice more powerful than the one you bought last year, your efficiency is doubled.
Yep.
Right? Microsoft achieved what they called a 50% increase in throughput for OpenAI inferencing. What throughput is, it's a measure of how much work a system can compete in a specific amount of time. In artificial intelligence terms, it's usually measured in tokens per second, which is essentially how many words or characters that artificial intelligence can generate across all its users at once. Why this is important: Microsoft spent $37.5 billion this quarter, but because the increased throughput by 50%, they can serve millions more customers without having to buy 50% more chips. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Now, Amazon also announced their $200 billion capex plan for 2026. Their custom chips that they're making to try to surpass NVIDIA and not have to wait in line for NVIDIA's chips, Trainium and Graviton, now have a combined $10 billion plus annual revenue run rate. And it's growing at more than 100% a year. So this is
what do you
on
mean
an
by revenue
exponential
run rate?
So this is how much money essentially that it's but both of them are projected to bring in the next year.
Okay.
Take all of the months of revenue, basically all 12 months, add it up. That's your projected annual revenue run rate. Up 100% year over year. Continuously growing. So the CapEx, the capital expenditures that these companies have announced, in my opinion, are capital expenditures that are building their moat. This is a physical barrier for other companies. They're not going to be able to touch them. No startup's going to be able to match this whatsoever. None. Are you following me, Dave?
I'm following you. I'm waiting. Where we're going with this?
So,
because
if Microsoft,
I mean, it sounds like okay, buy. That's all I'm hearing right now.
Okay, so if Microsoft can generate 50% more AI answers for the same dollar of electricity and hardware, their profit margins will eventually expand. Here's the computational magic: their profit margins expand even if they don't raise prices.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice. No, that's
Did you follow me from
buy.
point A to point B there?
I did. Yes.
Okay, good. Because that's the magic of this. That's the magic of the computational compute efficiency here.
That's the magic
the
of
more
AI.
efficient these become, the more efficient artificial intelligence becomes, the more money they make even without raising prices.
Man, so they raise prices even more money.
Yes.
Crazy. It's printing money now. It's printing Microsoft's printing money.